Alright, what's up guys? So today I wanted to make a little Valorant tier list video. The game's been out for a little while now, so I feel like it's about time, we all have pretty much a good idea of what's really strong, what's not so strong in Valorant. I've played about maybe 60, 70 games already, put in a lot of hours, so I have a pretty good feeling of what's going to get nerfed or what needs a little bit of a buff. So right off the bat, we'll just kick it off with the OP category. I think we all know who it is. Raze is just so strong. All of her abilities are just absolutely insane. From the boom bot, helping you clear certain areas, to her blast pack to get to certain boost areas, or from her cluster grenade, everything is just so strong. And then that RPG, of course, that's how you get those triple kills, quad kills. She's just really strong. Her entire kit is absolutely lethal. So I think she's definitely the most OP character in the game. Alright, so next up we're going to go in the complete opposite direction, and in my opinion he's the only C tier agent. I think his kit is just a little underwhelming and could probably use a little bit of a buff, and that's actually for Omen. I think Omen's abilities, like I said, are just a little underwhelming. So his Paranoia, which launches that little shadow clone in a straight line and makes you a little bit blind, I think the hitbox is ridiculously small. It very rarely actually hits the opponent. It's pretty good when it does hit it, but I think the hitbox is really small and it's just tough to land. He has that little teleport, his shadow walk, the small distance teleport. It's okay, it can be useful in some situations. I've seen people make some pretty cheeky plays with it, but I think it's alright at best. His orb, the shadow orb, is pretty good because he can change the distance of it, so it's pretty good for taking sites or clearing a certain area. And then his ultimate, it can be pretty good. I think the fact that you can shut it down so quick, or you just wait for him to spawn out of his teleport and then you just kill him instantly, kind of sucks. It's okay. It can be useful. He's pretty fun, but in comparison to the rest of the agents, I think his kit is just very underwhelming. Up next, we'll talk about Phoenix. I think it's one of a fan favorite for everybody. I think Phoenix is A tier actually. He's a very aggressive character. He's really good for entry fragging if you're that kind of a player. His abilities suit his playstyle really well. So he has his Blaze Wall, which can block vision and hurts anyone that passes through it. It's good for zoning. He has his curve balls, which are essentially flashbangs that go around corners. It's great for entry fragging. He has that little Molotov as a signature ability, and then his Run It Back, which is his ultimate. You can pop your ultimate, go in, maybe get 2 entry frags, and then you'll just send right back to the beginning of where you started your ultimate. He's really strong, he's a fan favorite, and he's definitely in the A tier. Up next, we'll talk about another fan favorite, another popular pick, which is Jett. She's actually really fun to play, but I do believe she's in the B tier. She's actually my main. I love playing Jett. Her mobility is what makes her so much fun to play. Let's go through her abilities a little bit. Her Cloud Burst throws essentially a little smoke grenade that obscures vision for a short duration. Her Updraft launches her upwards, and you could also hold spacebar or whatever your jump key is in order to glide while you're in the air. Her signature abilities are Tailwind, which dashes her in any direction that she's moving. And then her ultimate is the Blade Storm, which has the several knives, the 5 knives I believe, that deal 50 damage to the body, and it's a 1 shot to the head. So if you can get those headshots, it's good. If not, it takes 3 shots. She's just really fun. I think the mobility is what makes her, amazing to play, but I think she is a little underwhelming in comparison to the other agents. She doesn't bring as much in her kit, but if you like playing for yourself, you like making the flashy plays, this is definitely the character for you. Alright, now let's talk about Viper. Viper, I also believe, is in the B tier. She's pretty strong. When I first saw her abilities when they were previewing the game, before anyone really got to play it, I thought she was going to be broken because of her ultimate. After playing a lot more games and seeing her played, I feel like it's very niche. Sometimes it works out for you, but majority of the time you don't really get that perfect ult scenario. Her abilities are pretty fun. So she has her Snake Bite, which fires a projectile of like acid. So it's essentially like a little pool of acid. She has her Poison Cloud, which throws a gas bomb that emits poisonous smoke, I think it is. And she can pick up the gas bomb and throw it again, which is pretty cool. And her kit actually has fuel, which is like her resource. That's how you use your abilities. Her signature ability is the Toxic Screen. It's that big poison wall that you see the Vipers put up. And then everybody knows her ultimate's the Viper Pit, where she makes this big poison cloud that she can sit in, and everybody that goes in it gets down to 1 HP, their health and shield decay, armor decay. She's pretty strong. She can be really good when you have a sight, and she can hold down a sight very well. But aside from that, I'm having a tough time seeing her as very strong in comparison to other agents. She's pretty good. If you do like that playstyle, it works pretty well. I do believe she is in the B tier. Alright, next up, let's talk about an agent who I think I underestimated a little bit when the game first launched. But after seeing the pro streamers versus the Riot developers, I think he's actually an A tier agent, and that's Sova. I think his kit is a very high skill ceiling kit. Once you master him, he can be very, very effective and very strong for your team. Let's go through his abilities. His shock bolt fires a bolt that radiates some static energy. I believe on direct impact it does 90 damage, so it's pretty strong if you know exactly where the enemy is. He has the Owl Drone, which is a portable flying drone that he can use to scout the area, and he can also mark his targets, which reveals them to both himself and his teammates. Signature abilities is Recon Bolt. This is the important one. It reveals an area location through sonar waves. These are actually really tough to land, but if you can get certain lineups to scout areas, it can be so effective for you and your team to reveal the enemy's location. And his ultimate is the Hunter's Fury, which fires 3 energy blasts that pierce through walls and travel a very long distance in the map. It's actually really strong for zoning, and also if you know exactly where they are, you can pretty much kill them because it slows you after you get hit by the first one. So you then just spam the next 2 and you can get kills with that ultimate. He's really strong, like I said, but he is a high skill ceiling agent. He's tough to play, but I think once mastered, he's definitely in the A tier. Next up, we'll keep it in the same category, a very high tier, high skill ceiling agent, and that's Cipher, who I believe is also in the A tier. I think his kit is really strong, both when playing the defending side and the attacking side. So let's go through his kit a little bit. He has his trapwire, which he places between 2 walls, and anybody that crosses through it is slowed for a short time, and it actually also reveals you. Next up, we have his Cyber Cage. It's a trap that he can place anywhere on the map. Once he activates it, it slows enemies that pass through it and also obscures their vision. And then his signature ability is Spy Cam. He places a remote camera anywhere, and he can go between himself, his first person point of view, and his camera. And he can also mark his opponents, so it can show your teammates where they are. And then his ultimate is the Neural Theft, and that ultimate's actually really strong. Once there's a dead enemy, he can go and use his ultimate on the dead enemy to reveal the rest of the enemy locations. I believe that it has to be done within 15 seconds, but once used correctly, you know exactly where the enemy team is, and you can use that to your advantage. Like I said, he's great both on the attacking side and the defending side. He's really hard to master, but once you get it down, he is in the A tier. Okay, next up is Sage, who's the medic. Sage, I actually believe, is in the S tier. She's really close to being an OP, and even the Riot dev talked about potentially nerfing her already. So let's go through her abilities. She has her Slow Orb, which creates a zone that slows anyone that passes through it. It also reduces your jumping, and it makes a very loud and obvious noise that you're there when you're passing through it. Next is her Barrier Orb, which creates that big wall that everybody sees. You can use this obviously to zone people away, but at the same time you could also use it to do a little boost for both yourself and for your teammates to create little off angles. Her signature ability is her Healing Orb, which can heal herself or her allies. And then her ultimate is the Resurrection. She is a full-blown medic, full-blown support. She's a great character. I think she's very, very strong. Her entire kit is so good. She can do it all. She's definitely in the S tier, and I believe it's going to be getting nerfed very soon. Okay, next up is Brimstone. Brimstone is a pretty great character. I think he is actually in the A tier as well. He's very utility heavy, and he's just a very good agent to have on your team. Let's go through his kit a little bit. He has an Incendiary, which has, from the name you can tell what it is. It's an incendiary grenade that creates an area of flame, just like Molotov does. He has a Stim Beacon, which he can call on and then put on the ground. Gives anybody in the beacon a boost to your fire rate for any weapon that you're using. Next up is his signature ability, which is a Sky Smoke. He can pull up the map, and based on your location, you can call in multiple smoke screens. I believe it's 3, and it's actually really, really good because you can block off angles from sites. Like if you're taking a B site, you can smoke off the Heaven and the CT side. His ultimate is his Orbital Strike, which calls in a strike. Basically, in a certain area that strikes that area for several seconds. It's really good. If you hear them defusing the spike or something, you can just call it right on the spike, and if they stand in it, they're going to be dead. He's a really strong agent. He's very utility heavy, and he's great to have on a team no matter what game. Alright, last person on our list is Breach, who I believe is actually also in the A tier. He's full of utility. He's really strong to have on your team. Let's go through his abilities. His Aftershock ability creates an explosive charge that breaches through walls and damages enemies that are standing near it. So on an eco round or on a pistol round, this is actually really strong. I believe it even one-shots opponents. Next up is his Flashpoint, which basically is a flashbang through a wall. He can set up his teammates to peek a certain angle by flashing through a wall, and anybody looking on the other end of it gets flashed. His signature ability is his Fault Line, which creates a concussive quake in a straight line that disorients the enemy's aim, and it also travels through walls. It's really annoying to go against. His ultimate is Rolling Thunder, which creates this seismic charge that travels through walls. It dazes your opponent, and it even knocks them back. It's great for taking sights. I think he's really strong. It's really fun to play, and a good breach can really make your defensive side really tough to hold. That pretty much concludes the video, guys. Thank you all for watching. Remember, this is only my opinion on it. If you enjoyed playing a certain agent and they're not as high up on the list, they still could be really good in the right hands. It's still really early to tell. And on top of that, if we get any patch notes, things can change. But if you did enjoy the video, guys, please leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Peace.